Well, good morning, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished speakers, welcome to London, for those of you who have travelled from afar. Welcome to ODI, to those of you who have not been to our new offices here in Blackfriars Road. And welcome to the Cape Conference for 2012. My name's Alison Evans, and I'm Director of ODI, and it's my great pleasure to welcome you all today. I suppose it's become something of a cliche to talk about the changing world. If you do a quick search on Google Scholar, we can confirm that to append a changing world to any title is a surefire way to get published these days. But I don't mean to trivialize. I think it's the sheer pace and shape of change in the world today that is both exciting us and possibly vexing us in equal measure. The main headline, of course, is a narrative of remarkable development progress over the last 50 years, 40 years, and some might argue even over the last 10 years. We're also seeing many of the boundaries around which we've framed our thinking and practice in development, and depending on who you read, either shifting, collapsing, or at the very least, losing intellectual content. But we must guard against sort of loose talk about convergence. For this very aggregate story of progress disguises enormous country and regional variation and deep social and economic inequalities that in many ways represent the unfinished business that is now the agenda that is informing the discussions around the post-2015 development framework, for example. And there is much that is unfinished. But interestingly, and particularly relevant, I think, for this conference over the next 2 days, is that the business of finishing that agenda is also changing dramatically. The numbers of actors within the development space, the purposes and inclinations of those actors is changing remarkably fast. And it is partly the purpose of this conference over the next 2 days to try and make sense of that, not only at the aggregate level, but also at the regional and country level. And I can't think of anyone better to help us frame that discussion than our opening speaker, our keynote speaker, Sri Mulyani Indrawati, one of the managing directors of the World Bank, the managing director who is responsible for regional and country operations, amongst a few other things. Many of you will, of course, also know Sri Mulyani from her period as Indonesia's Minister of Finance and coordinating Minister of Economic Affairs. And she was indeed one of the preeminent architects of Indonesia's very successful response to the global economic crisis of 2008, amongst many other things, and has really an incredibly impressive CV, of which she has received also many honours and awards, including Euromoney's magazine's Global Finance Minister of the Year. So I am delighted and to provide a very warm welcome to Sri Mulyani to start us off with some ideas around how we think about this changing world. Over to you, Sri Mulyani. Thank you.